Okay, so welcome everybody to our second awesome virtual workshop. Thank you to the Lakeland judging team. Extra special thank you to Lakeland College and the judging team who we have on here today to present for us. Without their support, we wouldn't be able to run this. And so it's really important that we have them here supporting this and delivering this awesome program workshop for you guys, for everyone here. And it will be recorded. So if you miss a section or you want to go review, it'll be recorded and put on our YouTube video before next week. So that'll be awesome. So you can go look on our YouTube channel for that. And then I just want to remind everybody about the 4-H provincial judging competition that's coming up on March 11th. So all of these details are also on the 4-H website and they're in the online registration system. So I know there's a lot to read on these slides, but if you go to our 4-H website, you can go and read more about it, learn more about the judging competition, and register for it. So it's going to be an awesome time this year. It is going to be at Lakeland College. And no, you don't know what you're going to judge before you get there. I have a lot of people asking me that. So it's a fun surprise. I honestly don't even know. So I can't even give you any secret insights because I have no idea what's going to be there. So it's really exciting. And if you have any questions, again, it's all on the website, but you can email Tracy Dietrich. I'm sorry if you guys are messaging me. I'll get back to the questions about this once I stop sharing my screen. I have too many things open. So just remember that you can go and check this out. And I really encourage all of you to do it if you haven't registered already or if you haven't read about it already. So go learn more about the 4-H Alberta judging competition coming up. And before we keep going, I want to do the pledge. So I know you all have your screens off or your mics off. If you want to turn your screen or your camera on for the pledge, you can, but I encourage everybody to stand up with me and we will do the 4-H pledge. Okay, I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. Thanks, everybody. It's hard on Zoom. I can't tell if you could see me there, but I'm sure all of you joined along, so I appreciate it. And we already thank Lakeland College for their extra special support on this program, but I want to do another shout out for our sponsors. We'll do this every time because without our supporters and our sponsors, we couldn't run programs like this, so it's fantastic. Thank you to our Diamond Clover sponsor, the Government of Alberta. Thank you to our Emerald Clover sponsors, Alberta Recycling, Altalink, ATB, Calgary Stampede Foundation, CPA, and UFA. Thank you to our Gold Clover sponsors, AFSC, PV Mart, Save On Foods, our Silver Clover sponsors, Service Equipment, our Bronze Clover sponsors, Alberta Beef Producers, MCS Net, Bayer, Nutrien, Gas Alberta Inc., Viterra, and again, an extra special thank you to Lakeland College, and thank you to our Canadian national partner, Bayer, again. Thank you for your support. So with that, I'm going to stop my screen share. And Lakeland College is in Vermilion, but if you look it up on Google Maps, you'll be able to find it. So I'm going to pass it over to our awesome Lakeland, presenters who are here. I'll let them introduce themselves, and yeah, you guys can take it away. Whoever, I don't know, Kira, I don't know who's sharing the screen, but you guys go for it.
All right, awesome. I think Taylor's going to share a screen. Oh, there we go.
Can you rate Hudson one side?
All right, so like Maddie said, welcome to week 2 of the virtual judging workshops with 4-H Alberta and Lakeland College. I guess we'll start off with some introductions. So I'm Kira Axley. Some of you might recognize me. I was summer staff this summer and I'm an ambassador with 4-H, so I've been here, there, and everywhere, and you've probably seen lots of presentations from me. But in case you didn't know, I've also been going to Lakeland College for the past 2 years, and I compete on their collegiate judging team. So myself, along with Taylor, who will introduce herself, are here to teach you a little bit about comparisons today.
Hi guys, I know I saw a few of you last week for sure for the week 1 presentation, but I'm Taylor Carlson. I am from Manitoba, and I was a part of the 4-H program in Manitoba for about 10 years, so I'm really excited to be here and talking to you guys about judging. Same with Kira, I've been going to Lakeland for 2 years, and I am also on the judging team, and yeah, we're very excited to be here and talking about comparisons.
All right, so before we get into teaching a little bit about comparisons and how to use them when you're judging and how to use them in your reasons, we're just going to start off with a little bit, just a brainstorming session of how and why do we compare when judging. So last year you kind of went through everything about kind of why we judge, how you judge. So now we're going to really dive into it. So if anyone wants to blurt out, unmute yourself and blurt out why you think it's important to compare when judging.
In case something looks better than the other, or two of them look the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have to look at the smaller details, like how they were raised, how much weight they have, and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's always going to be a better placing or a higher placing animal than the other ones in the class. And like Isaac said, you really have to look at all the fine details and pick out those fine details that one animal has that is more prominent than the other one, or one that maybe doesn't have that same trait. So when we are judging, it is very important to compare, like we said, because like in our reasons, we are always saying, I place 3 over 1, I place 1 over 2. So we're obviously always comparing 2 animals or 2 items within the judging class to try and pick out those few differences that really set the animals apart. Not only in judging are we looking between 2 specific animals, we're not always just comparing 2 animals to each other, but when we are giving reasons and evaluating our class, we want to compare the class as a whole. So we don't just want to be stuck on one item or one animal. You want to really compare the whole class and see if one animal sticks out, or if one maybe is clearly lacking a quality that the others have. When we are comparing our judging class, you want to write down what you like best about each item. So if we're judging a class of beef heifers and we're going through and we're comparing them, maybe I see one heifer that I think is really long bodied. It's the longest heifer in the class. And that thing, like that characteristic really catches my eye when I'm looking at them. I'm going to write down that the number 3 heifer is longer than the number 2 heifer, or is the longest in the class. So you always want to keep track of the things that you are comparing within your class so that you keep that consistent. Another thing to keep in mind when we are judging, or more importantly, when we are comparing the items in our class, is that when giving our reasons, we want to use words ending in ER or use sentences that start with more. So if I'm giving my reasons to a judge or writing my reasons on a card, and I'm going to compare 2 animals or my 2 beef heifers, I'm going to say that 3 was longer spined than 2, or I found the number 3 heifer to possess more length of body, that kind of wording, so that you can really emphasize those comparisons and those specific factors that one item or one animal has above the others in the class. So now, knowing a little bit about why we need to go about comparing the classes and judging and how we would go about comparing, what are some ER words that you guys might use when giving reasons after class?
This one is better because.
Okay, any others? I see in the chat we have thicker, fuller in the chest. Those are also really good descriptive words.
Longer.
Longer, yes, that's a very good one.
Larger.
Larger, Kate, when we're using words such as larger, we want to be more
Wider.
specific as to where that animal is larger. So we might say that this animal is larger in their stride, or larger throughout their movement, or larger throughout their hips, that kind of thing, so we can get a little bit more description so the judge really knows what we're talking about.
Wider.
Yeah, wider is a really good one.
Prettier.
Yeah, you guys are coming up with some really good ones. I see in the chat we have deeper, longer again, wider, more even in the leg. Yep.
Taller.
Taller. Yep, that could be a good one. All right, so it's really good. You guys are using ER words, which is really good, and ER words are really good words to use because they're really descriptive. And when we're judging, we're giving reasons to the official judge, we want to be as descriptive as we can so that he really understands what we are seeing. So that's really good. We're gonna go through a few other words, and we're gonna practice comparing and making up comparison reasons for a few simple judging classes today. All right, so you guys highlighted and told me a few really good descriptive words to use when comparing two items within a class. These are just a few words that we should not use. So we don't want to use good, better, best, or nice. You guys came up with some really good descriptive terms such as longer, deeper, thicker, that kind of thing. And those are really good at describing what the animal is actually like. You can say she's thicker across her top, she's wider throughout her chest, or wider throughout her hips. But when we're using words such as good, what is good explaining? We can't really tell the judge what we think is good about this heifer if we just say this heifer is good, or her feet were good. How were her feet good? Were they straighter? Were they was she deeper in her heel? That kind of thing. Better, although it is an ER word, same thing. If we just say that this heifer had better legs, or this horse was better than the other one, it is also really hard to specifically describe what characteristic of that animal or that item is higher quality than the animal or heifer below her. So we want to stay away from good, better, best, and nice, because when using those four words, it's really hard to add description to what you think is a higher quality in that specific item. So the judge won't mark you as high if you use those words, because he really has to infer himself what you are comparing and what you're talking about and what you are characterizing within that animal that is a good quality compared to the others, because they aren't as descriptive. We also don't want to use the words bad or wrong. Like you probably mentioned last week, or that you guys might already know, every item that is brought to the judging competition is owned by someone. So you don't want to be negative and you don't want to put that item down. So by using bad or wrong, you might be hurting those owners' feelings. And it's also, again, just not as descriptive. If you do see a fault in an item or an animal, say this animal has really poor feet. She doesn't walk very good. You could say that she was lacking in structural soundness, or she had soft feet, or she wasn't as structurally correct or structurally as sound as the heifers above her. Those type of things. That adds a lot more description as to where she was lacking in comparison to the 3 other heifers, without being negative and without hurting anyone's feelings. Like I mentioned, we don't want to be negative just because all the items that come to town or come to the competition are someone's personal belongings. So we always want to be positive, because you don't like people saying negative things about your items or your animals. So you don't want to do that either. And when you say positive things in the reasons, you're also telling the judge that you really went through and looked at each class, and you weren't just like, oh, I just placed this animal in last place because I didn't like it. It really shows when you're using positive terminology that you went through and thoroughly evaluated the class. And as you go throughout your judging career and you guys get older and judge more, or you go through college, a college judging team, and travel across the province and across Canada to attend collegiate judging competitions, you'll learn more words to use that are really descriptive and really positive. So if you can't really think of a huge vocabulary right now to really describe what you're seeing and to compare your items in your class, don't worry, because your terminology bank will grow as you do too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
So next we're gonna go through a few different kind of items, and we're gonna start comparing them and talking about why we made that decision. So the first one we're gonna go to is, which banana would you rather eat and why? So take a good look at both of your options here, and then you can either type in the chat, or if you want to turn your mic on and explain why you picked that one, you can go ahead.
I picked B because it is not as bruised and brown as A.
Yeah, totally. I have one in the chat that says B because it's not as rotten and would taste better. That's
I say B because B is a lot larger, it looks better, and is most likely much more healthier than A.
That's true, yeah. We have a few ones in the chat that say B because it's sorry. B because it's more fresh. B because it doesn't have any black on it. And somebody said that you could put them both in muffins, which I'm sure is true.
The pigs will like number A.
That's true, yeah. You can still make use of it.
I would pick A because you can make a smoothie with it. That'd be delicious.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
I would pick B because it's not as rotten or like as bad as A.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are totally getting the track of it. And you guys did a good job too of using those ER words to compare your two options. So just keep that in mind as we go through the next examples as well. We have, all right. So now we have a couple heifers. So which heifer do you like better and why? So remember to take a good look at them together, and then you can look at them individually.
I cannot see the heifers yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Kira, we can't hear
Me neither.
or see the next screen.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think Taylor's frozen. We'll just maybe
I can't see them.
wait a sec, see if she unfreezes. Oh. Here, I'll share my screen and we can get it up and going again. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen, Kira.
Okay, perfect. All right. All right, so we went through the bananas and you guys did a really good job on getting, picking up some comparisons between the two. So now we're gonna go and look at these beef heifers. So again, if you guys want to turn on your mics and explain to me some comparisons that you see between the two heifers or put it in the chat, that would be great. So whatever you guys think that you can pick out between the two heifers that sets them apart or makes them a little bit different.
I would say B because it looks fatter for me. And it looks white and black, which those are cool cows. So
Yep, those are all great characteristics.
I would
would
say
say-
A actually, because it has, even though it has a curved back, it has much better legs. It looks much better.
I would
And
pick
than B.
I would pick B because it's way much more deeper than A.
I will pick A because its legs look more muscular, like a lot more muscular than number B. And I've been watching my brother for 3 years doing multi-judging, and I'd say A's position is also slightly better.
I choose B because she is longer and deeper.
Yep, good word, Gracie.
I pick
I'd pick B because A it looks a lot more leggy, and B looks a lot more thick, but it might just be the coat of fur.
I like A better because A actually has someone holding him, which means that he can be good around someone.
And also with A, it looks like he has a bigger rump area, like just slightly bigger.
Yep, so you guys are doing a really good job picking out some specific characteristics. So like you said, B looks a little bit deeper throughout her middle. You could say she's deeper in her heart girth, deeper in her flank. I would agree that A is longer bodied, so you can see that she has more length throughout her spine. And I'd also say that A carries a little bit more neck extension through her front. As well as, like someone mentioned, A does carry a little bit more muscle in her hind end, and she carries that muscle definition down into her stifle region in her hind leg a little bit more too. You guys commented a lot on structural soundness of their feet and of their leg structure and leg position, which was really good to see. So you guys did a really good job picking up some comparisons that you can use for heifers or cattle in general, as well as kind of telling me what set each of these heifers apart. So we'll go into another comparison here. So which pair of shoes between these two would you say is a better choice for an important meeting? So you're going to a job interview, say, oh, we lost my screen.
You can't see your screen.
I would choose A because they're fancier.
Yeah,
I choose A because B has poop on them and that's not appropriate for meetings.
I would choose
I would say A because they're much cleaner. They're much more dress tight, and they look much better than B.
Well, you could also wash B off maybe then it wouldn't look so horrible.
A.
A is cleaner than B.
But right now,
A is cleaner and
I choose A because,
newer. A is cleaner and newer than B.
and it is also, as you can see, a lot shinier than A.
I would say B because you can wash them off and they look newer because someone's wearing those ones.
Yeah,
I would pick A because it looks type and is dirty and not appropriate for an important meeting.
I pick A because they're shinier and they look better for a meeting.
I choose E because A also looks very tight. Yeah. But you would have to watch.
I choose A over B because A, it's more like snow.
Clean and shinier and more colorful.
I choose A over B because it's shinier and like cleaner.
Awesome job. So yeah, you guys are really looking at all characteristics of these two shoes. I would agree with all you that said A. I think that they are a little bit of a dressier look. I agree that A is cleaner and shinier. So really good job at looking at all angles of these pairs of shoes and kind of putting some words together to really give me some reasons on why you think one item places higher than the other. I believe we have another comparison. So out of these two horses, which do you like better and why? So if you can tell me about a few facts or criteria that you think one horse portrays a little bit better than the other, or that you better than the other, then you can turn your mic and
I would choose B because it's in a fence, it looks like, so it might escape if the A might escape.
I choose B
because it has better conformation and his neck isn't as arched.
B looks like it has more of a wither.
I choose B because he looks a little wider than A, and also his legs look a little better positioned than.
I would pick B. I would pick B because it's deeper and it looks way more stronger than A.
But A also is being led, so that proves his halter broken.
And so is B.
So there's
back, but B's more muscular. I would choose A because it can't jump the fence. It's tied up. I would choose B because it's more muscular.
B is halter broken. He has a halter.
I would choose B.
I would choose B because it looks like someone's holding that one.
I choose B because
Straighter back, but B's and also A can't just get like burned by the sun.
too much talking. Shut off our microphone. I pick B because he's nice and thick, and the A, he's really thin and he could die really soon.
Awesome, good reason. So yeah,
Will they be used for show or for race?
Oh.
yeah. So you guys came up with a lot of good reasons for placing A maybe over B or B over A. And both these horses have some good, some strong characteristics that make them quality animals. So yeah, like you guys said, B does display a little bit more muscle definition. You can see in his forearm and his shoulders, he's got some more muscle definition, and into his hind quarter in that stifle region, he really has some thicker muscle definition than maybe you can see in A. Like you guys also said, B is thicker or deeper, so you could say he's deeper throughout his chest and has a deeper barrel or is more round throughout his barrel, if we could get in behind him to look from behind to see actually how wide he is. Another thing you could say is that I really like about B is really clean in his throat latch, so that's kind of where his head and his neck attach. I really like how clean he is there. He doesn't have a lot of extra skin. One of you guys did comment on the withers, which is a really good thing to be looking at in horses. So they can say he's stronger throughout his withers, which a lot of you said. Another thing we can look at here is these horses kind of feet and leg structure. So B could have a stronger leg set or a more correct leg set. Or we could say A is a little bit more weak in his pasterns, and kind of a little bit more set back in those hocks. So we maybe isn't as desirable if you're going to be using these horses for heavy ranch work. You might want a horse with a more correct hoof set or more correct and stronger pasterns. Those are all good terminologies to use when judging horses, and you guys came up with a lot of good comparisons between the two. All right.
It also has a deeper curve. B also has a deeper curve in its back, so it would be easier to sit on with your saddle.
Yep, that is true. B does have maybe a little bit stronger of a back and be a little bit more stronger through his hind end into his croup. It's a really good point.
If you look at that curve there, you can there's like a curve in the back where you put your saddle. That looks a little more fit for the saddle. Well, with B, because A doesn't have as much of a curve as B.
Yep, for sure. So again, just remember, we're looking at, these are just still pictures and we're just looking from their side profile. But when we are comparing items in a judging class, we want to look at them from all angles. So we have a question for you guys. What is the most important thing to remember in judging?
To always be positive with your things and don't say like this one is good or nice or better or this one is wrong.
Compare the animals, like the length of them and like the depth and stuff.
You have to use the early ending. Don't say this is like bad or wrong or like good or better.
Yep, for sure. That's
look as a class as a whole.
Yep, we always want to be looking at the class as a whole, as well as the individual. That's right.
Keep open-minded.
Excellent. Yep, we always want to be open-minded so we don't miss anything.
Make sure to look at both sides, what the good and the bad are of both of them.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Remember that it's like somebody's personal belongings, so like don't like say anything bad about it because it could make the person feel bad.
Yep, for sure.
Staying focused.
Yeah, focus is a very big part of judging. That is for sure.
Compare everything.
Yep, that is very true. All right.
Look at it from all angles.
Yeah, we definitely want to look at them from all angles. We might miss something if we just stand on their one side. So a lot of you said not to use words as better, best, worst. And can someone tell me why we want to avoid words such as better, good, worst, nice?
Because those words, because they don't explain anything. They don't fully explain anything.
Yeah, that's right.
They just
need to be specific.
Yeah, they're not nearly as specific when talking about a certain part of the animal as if we used more proper words such as thicker or stronger or deeper. That's for sure.
Or longer or more muscular.
Oh, they smell so bad.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, you guys definitely, I think, have a really good grasp on how to judge and what to look for when judging, as well as how to put together some thoughts and how to word why you think one animal places higher than the other. Right, so that wraps up our presentation. That's all we have to talk about tonight. We'd be very willing to answer any questions if you have any, or go back through some slides if you're would like some more words to use for a class went over.
No, yeah.
Yeah, turn on your mic if you have any questions you would like to ask.
How do you judge pigs?
How do we judge pigs? All right, so I think we're going to be going over that next week. So if you guys want to tune in there. Judging pigs and judging any livestock is about another presentation all in itself. So if you guys want to stay tuned till next week, we'll go over that.
How many more meetings are there?
I believe there's 4.
There are 4 more meetings. Okay.
What are we all going to talk about in the meetings?
What if what was it?
Why do we have to use words?
All right, so that's a really good question. The reason you want to use ER words, and feel free to jump in if you're back on. The reason we want to use ER words is using the suffix ER is a really great way to add description to a word. So when we're using it's just saying that that animal provides more thickness in a certain area with using less words. So if I was to say, it'd take a lot more to explain where an animal is thick, and it wouldn't give the same description and wouldn't provide the same comparison if I just use words such as thick or wide in my sentences. But adding the suffix ER gives that comparison back to those words to really tell the judge and to explain in all your reasoning, whether you're telling an official judge or if you're just talking to a friend or selling a bull to your new bull buyer. It really gives them a lot more description on what you're talking about and provides a higher comparison factor.
Oh, you're doing it every 2 seconds.
What time are we going to do it?
Do what?
The judging.
I believe it's the same time next week.
What type of animal?
The real judging. What time are we doing the real judging?
Oh, that I'm not sure.
How do you judge sheep? How do you judge sheep?
I think that one's kind of like what Kira said with the pigs. We're going to go more into judging specific species in the next couple weeks, just because there's a lot to cover. So we can't go through everything all at once.
How do you judge birds? Just any type of birds?
That's one I don't know the answer to. Kira, do you know about judging birds?
We judge food.
I stay away from flying objects.
Me too.
What about chickens? Chickens don't fly.
They still have wings. They could still get ya.
What about a chicken with no wings?
I haven't come across one of them yet.
I think somebody asked if you can judge food.
I have chickens.
Judging food is definitely something that you can do. You do that without even thinking about it. Like if you go to pick up an apple to eat, you're thinking about which one looks the best. So yeah, you can definitely judge food. And sometimes you will judge food in competitions and stuff. So.
How do you judge ducks?
Like Chef shows you judge food.
How do you judge paintings?
That's kind of however you want to do that in your head, I think. Yeah. All about what you like the best.
Yeah. So like we mentioned earlier, we'll go more into how to judge some specific species in the next 2 meetings. So if you have any specific questions relating to comparisons or
Judging started.
that's what we can answer tonight.
What is the most odd thing you have judged?
Don't.
The most odd thing?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I had a mystery class that was flowers once. It wasn't like that odd, but I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I think the most odd thing that I've judged,
What was the hardest thing you've judged?
food or water, just because you don't really think about putting together reasons as to which glass of water you want to drink, or which tub of water you want to go feed your animals. But nonetheless, it was really interesting to kind of see what all we had to think about and compare when looking at 4 pails of water.
Can you judge sky?
In your head, you might be able to. Danielle, do you have a question? You have your hand up.
What has been your cutest thing to judge?
Our cutest thing to judge, for me, I think would be we had a class of blue heeler puppies one year that I judged, and those were very, very cute.
What's the hardest thing you've ever judged?
For me, the hardest thing I've judged is alpacas. What about you, Taylor?
Oh, probably dairy cows for me. I am not very good at dairy cows because I just want to think of them as a beef cow.
The uglier the cow looks, the more milk and better milk it produces.
Your hand is up too.
It's my mother's information.
Space? Can you judge space?
So do you have a question?
What's the easiest thing for you to judge?
I don't know if I could really pick one thing that I think is really easy, but beef cattle in general are definitely not the hardest thing to judge. I think that's just because I've grown up with beef cattle all my life, and that's kind of the most common thing to be judging in a competition. So I think for me, definitely beef cattle aren't the toughest class that I face when judging.
Can you judge space?
In your own mind, you might be able to, but generally you won't see that as a class in a competition.
Has anybody ever won first?
I have in a couple of competitions back home, yeah.
Can you judge animal hides?
Yeah, you definitely can.
Like antlers and stuff like that? Horns, antlers, hooves?
Yep.
Yeah. I've never had to do it, but it definitely can be done, yeah.
Can you judge pizza sauce?
I bet you can. Yeah, there's a lot of random things can be thrown at you in judging competitions.
Can you judge anything?
Yes, you can. You can judge anything.
Everything you do in your daily life relates back to judging, all the way back to choosing what t-shirt you want to wear today, what you want to eat for breakfast, what you're going to watch on TV, what time you're going to go out and feed your 4-H steers. Everything you do relates back to judging.
Can you judge cereal?
Yep.
Can you judge the word peep?
Are there any other questions about what we talked about today with like comparisons and that kind of thing?
Oh, I forgot my question.
Can you judge chocolate?
Yes, you can.
Could you judge
Chocolate is
your
disgusting.
schoolwork?
I guess you could judge schoolwork, yeah.
All schoolwork. F.
Can you judge lemonade?
Yeah, you definitely can.
Can't you just
Can
judge
you-
everything?
Can
Yes.
you judge a Sour Patch
Could
Kid?
you judge 2 pictures?
Yeah, you can judge literally everything.
Even pale.
Can you judge judging?
Yeah, that's what happens when you're in a judging competition. Your judging gets judged.
All right, so that wraps up our presentation tonight about comparison and using comparative terms and kind of going through and evaluating and comparing different items within the class. So thank you everyone for tuning on tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Yeah, all we have.